Hi guys, very good evening to you. I hope all of you are doing very well and welcome to the video number 285. My name is Ajay and I'm going to talk about today a question which I actually received from one of my subscribers, Prerna, and I will just read out the question, and this is going to be a video on the nested if. We are going to talk about the if function, and it's a very good actually question which I received, and it's absolutely a real problem. It's a MIS problem, and these are the things which you actually face when you work on the Excel in your day-to-day project. So first of all, let me just read out the question I have got from her. So Prerna Singh actually has written, my name is Prerna, and firstly I'm thankful to you for your YouTube videos which you update daily. By the help of your videos, it helps me so much in the career of analytical field. Well, a big thumbs up to you, Prerna. Thank you so much for the appreciation, and this is what exactly I always talk, that when you watch my videos, I always ensure that the videos are not really a wastage of time, right? If you are watching the videos, you should definitely get some good understanding, and you can utilize all my videos in your real life, where you are working in office or any project, wherever you're working. If you're watching something, it should give you the benefit. After all, you're spending a lot of time, right? So but this time I haven't understand which formula I use to get the result automatically, so I attach Excel file. If you know how to get the value, can you please brief me about that? So let me just show all the viewers what exactly we have got it. So this is actually the file which I received, guys, right? So this is now what actually we are trying to do. Now this is really a very interesting thing. I really loved working on this formula, so please pay attention to this. Now what actually we want to do is what she said. Now she has actually written a question which I can read it out for you, but that's fine. I can explain what she actually is looking. Now you see here we have a month period. These are the basically the month periods, that for how many months we need the number, which is this number amount for each month, to be captured here. And if you see here we have Jan, Feb, March, April, we have all the months here, and then after the December, there is another Jan, but this time it is not 12, it is not 1, it is 13, right? So basically, because we want to accumulate these months, so it's a planning for the year 2017, but at the same time the next actually month has to be 13, 14, 15, 16, and I'll tell you the reason, right? So these are the months which we have here. You can see the formula is applied there. Well, that's fine. If you don't need, I'm not going to tell you about this formula. This is very simple. This is a simple month formula. You can go to my Excel, and you can, this playlist I'm talking about, in this playlist, in this channel, these are all the playlists where you will get the videos on the Excel date functions. And similarly, if you're looking forward for some more videos on the Excel if function, because in this troubleshooting, I'm going to actually solve this puzzle with the help of the if function, then just scroll it down and find it out where exactly is the Excel if function. Click on this and you will find some more amazing videos. 4 videos there long time back I recorded. Okay, so you can also take the benefit of these videos. So these are the different playlists. If you're watching the channel for the first time, guys, we have almost we are trying to cover every topic in Excel VBA Access and Access VBA, right? Be it a basic part, intermediate part, or advanced part, right? Okay, so now let me come back to this real question. Now we have here a start month. So basically what we want to do, whatever the month you get here. So I was actually before I tell you that, I was telling you that this is simply a formula which is giving you the month of all these numbers, or otherwise you can also drag it. I mean, there is no big deal. You can simply do this. You can drag this like this, as simple as that. Just drag it, click on this button and click on the fill series, and you will have your numbers 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So this is not the agenda of this video. You can create this series, right? Now the agenda is that if I enter here 3, then what should happen, I should be able to see this 2000 exactly from the 3rd month, which is March. And as you can see here, it's coming here. This 2000 amount is not coming here because they want to pay to the client from the effective month, which would come from here, and for how long they want to pay the client, that would come from here. So if I start from the March, because it is 3, then from the March how many times I will be going to pay the client, that will be decided by this month period, which is 3. So that is why you see that I'm getting here 3 times. So from the March I will start, and then in April, in May, I will start paying my client. And the amount is 2000, 2000, 2000, right? Similarly, if you look at this, the second number, start month is what? It's April, and you can see here that it starts with the April. Now from the April, how many time, how long you're supposed to pay this 7,333? 3 times. We want to pay this 3 times from the April month. So you see that you're getting here 3, right? And similarly here, in this case, you want to start paying this client in the month of August, because it's coming here 8, and that's why you see here 8, right? But then how long this payment will go? Well, this payment will go 6 times. So you can see here I have 8, 9th, 10th, 11th month, then 12th month, and 13th month. So we are going to pay this much for these 6 months, right? And similarly, this one, guys, we will start from the 6th month, and we will pay 12 EMIs, you can see, or 12 interim payments. So I'm going to start with the June, because it is 6, and from the June, it will go like this: 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, till May the payment will happen. And if you count these numbers, this is going to exactly give you 12. You can see here in the task bar 12, right? So what exactly I have done now, this is a very dynamic formula I have prepared, right? It's very simple. You can see it's a very small function, but the kind of the logic I have used, that is really going to be make this video pretty awesome, and you will definitely love it. Now before I do explain you these things, I want to tell you, for example, if I write here 1 and press enter, then what would happen? My start month would be January. So from the January, I will go for the next 3 months, which means January, February, and March, the payment would happen. So if I press enter, look at this, guys. This is automatically changing, right? There is no VBA code. It's a simple if function, by the way, right? Though I'm a big fan of the Excel VBA, trust me, every time I see something and I like to do it through the programming, but I thought, let me just make it simple. Why to make the VBA program for this? So similarly, if I write here 5, then what would happen? From the Jan month, the payment will start capturing for the next 5 months. This is terrific, guys, right? So if I write here, let's say 1, then what will happen? It means the payment will start in the Jan and end itself in the Jan, and this is exactly we need. And same for everything. If I start here from the 2, from the February, it will start. You see automatically that things are shuffling, right? So what basically we have done in order to get this? So in nutshell, I can say that this start month means that capture the month, this value wherever it is coming. This value we are going to look up in all these columns one by one, and wherever it gets that value, we should immediately print the value there. And then what is the next thing we want to do? Now once we get the value here, like in this case, for the next cell we would have to see that how many times we will have to repeat that value, which would be decided by this column J. Okay, so I have used here a couple of very good concepts which I want to tell you separately, right? We have used this a dollar sign here, which we use to give the dynamic ranges, but you may have not used this ever the way I have used this. For example, now what if I have these numbers here, right? Now guys, I have a question for you. You can pause the video after listening my question, and you can try it, and you can come back it and see that if exactly you cracked out my question, or if you face some problem, then definitely it is going to give you a good knowledge on that. Now I need this answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 using these values. Okay, these yellow values, let me just color them. So I need this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, let's say in these green cells. Let me just green them, give them the green color. Now I want that you prepare a formula in such a way that if I write here any formula and if I drag it left to right, automatically I should be able to see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How you gonna do that? You can pause it and you can think of that, right? Let me tell you. Now guys, see this. What I will do, I will say sum of this number to this number itself. I close it, right? This is a simple sum function I'm using, right? So I don't think I have to explain you the sum function. This is a very basic function, everybody knows that. But what is the important thing which now I'm going to do in this? Now normally if you guys know the Excel formulas like VLOOKUP, match, index, these are the very basic formulas, you would agree with me that most of the time you completely freeze the tables, right? So I'm here going to talk about the cell referencing. If you don't know the cell referencing part, then please go ahead and find out here the Excel demo videos playlist. When you click on that, you get to see here 2 videos on the cell reference part. Excel demo video cell reference part 1 and part 2. They are 30 to 35 minutes of the videos, and I've explained here that why we use the $sign, although it's a very basic thing. If you know Excel, then I don't think so I need to explain you, but just in case if you don't have any idea, go and watch those 2 videos. Now in this case guys, what I'm going to do, you see, the next time what I want this to be added with this, okay? And similarly the next time what I want this 3 items to be added, and then these 4 items to be added, and then these 5 items to be added, and then these 6 items to be added. So basically what is happening, your start point is not changing, but then gradually by every cell, like for example here you need 2. How you gonna get the 2? Obviously this plus this. Now here how you gonna get 3? This plus 3, these 3 cells. So I'm going to freeze the D4 here. The starting point I will not actually change, but D4 I will not freeze. The reason is very simple. When you drag this left to right, what will happen, as a rule, D4 will change to E4. So your formula will become sum D4 to E4, and if I press F2, you see this is the table I'm going to cover now. Similarly, if I drag this formula here, what will happen, let me show in the F2. You see table is expanding, and this is the beauty of this, because you did not freeze the end part, you kept it open, and because of which your columns will keep on changing. And when you drag this formula left to right, this is what exactly is going to happen. Now if you see here, when I press F2, we are using only 1 cell. I press F2, we are using 2 cells. I press F2 again, 3 cells are highlighted, 4 cells are highlighted, 5 cells are highlighted, and then 6 cells are highlighted, because of the simple reason that we are keeping the D column freezed, because that's the starting point. But this D4 is not, we are not changing it, we are not freezing it, and every time it goes to the next next cell left to right in the direction, as a rule, as Excel rule, the golden rule, left to right, when you move the cell, any formula you move, the column actually gets changed, the next column comes. So that is the reason you see here we have D4 to E4, here we have D4 to F4, and so on. So this is the concept guys I'm going to use in this exercise. Okay, so now what exactly we are going to do, let me delete the entire formula here and let me start it from the very scratch. Now you see that the first thing is clear. The first if function which I will write here is, I will simply say that if this value which is in the O4, if this is equals to this value, we are doing the comparison right now for the row number 7 only, then we will drag it down, right? So if you are equals to this, then obviously very clear that we would like to stop and we would like to capture this value, right? Because if this means, if this equals to this, then that means the start month is equals to this month, right? So obviously we want 6,000, right? And then what you will write in the false, let's say for the time being I write nothing. If you're not equals to this, then just do nothing. So you get the 6,000 guys, right? Because this one actually is equals to this one, right? Now the important point is, now for example, now what happens, let me change this period month to 3. Okay, so now first of all let us freeze the values. So this O4, this should remain as O$4. Okay, because when I drag this down it should not change to O5 because this is going to be compared with these values. And similarly the K7, when I drag this down it should be K8 because the next time this 1 should be compared with this 2 for the row number 8 and so on. So we are not going to freeze the 7. I will freeze the K part. Why I want to freeze the K part? Because this is the K7. So if I move this left to right, it should not change to the next, the column which is after K, we have L. So L7 should not be compared. So that's why I'm freezing this. And then what is the L7? L7 is this value which would remain same. So I will again freeze the column part and I'll keep the row part open because when I drag it down L7 should change to L8 and the new value should be picked. But at the same time if I move this left to right, this L7 should not change to M7 because in the M7 you have nothing. So we need to ensure about this referencing part. That's a simple referencing part. Okay, now the point is if you drag the formula like this, instead of having here 2000 you see here blank, and which is very much clear because if I press F2, what is happening, this 2 is getting compared with this 1 which is not equal, and if it is not equal it will never go in the L7, it will go in the false parameter which is value false. If I go to the this review tab and I click on the in the formula tab and I click on the evaluate formula, this is how the function works. What is in the P4? I click on the evaluate, it is 2, which is this 2, February. If I click evaluate, K7 will come. What is in the K7, guys? Start month. So this start month certainly is not equals to this February, right? So what happens, this comparison 2 equals to 1 will come as false. Now if it is false, then obviously a function will go in the false parameter and it will print the space for you, right? And that is the reason you get to see here false space. But do we need this space? Of course we don't need it. We want here 2000 because we want that this payment should be made 3 times starting from the month of January because I've written here 1. Okay, so that is the problem, right? So how to get this problem sort out, and this is the actual problem. So now what we will do is I will delete this. I will simply say that if this value O4 is equals to this, which means start month, then obviously my job is done. I just want the 2000 amount here. But what if this value is not equals to this value? Now if this value is not equals to this value, then we have a probability, we have a possibility that in the previous cell you may have a value. For example, when I was dragging this cell here, that because I have written here month period as 3, we should get here to 2000. So I'm going to bring the logic here that instead of displaying here the space in the false, if this 1 is not equals to 2, fine, but then do one more test, and the test is check out the previous cell, guys. In the previous cell, if you have a value, now if you have a value, then that means that definitely we would like to print the value in this cell also, the same value, right? But at the same time we also need to keep one thing in mind, that it should print this value, the previous cell value, only if and if this 3 is actually is greater than the count so far we have got from the previous cells, right? For example, let me show you like this. Now let me just build this the same function here. Let me drag the function here. Now in this case what I will do, I will say, just in case if P4 and K7 are not equal, then I will write if condition, if and I will write, right? Because we need 2 conditions. One condition is this, that if you are not space, this is how you write. if you're not spaced. Now if I'm not spaced, then it also does not mean that I should publish the 2000 here, because I need to take care of this also, that it should come only 3 times, right? Because if I directly write here that if you're not equals to space and then I print this 2000, then when I drag the left to right formula, the 2000 will come all over the place, and I don't need that. So what is the solution? So now I will put one more condition, and the condition is, if the previous cell is not empty, that means there is a value. So definitely we would like to check the second condition, and the second condition is what? The second condition would be, we will count the previous all the values, and we will count that whether the previous values are greater than this 3 or not. So what I will do in this case, I will simply select this cell. Okay, I will select this cell, and from this cell to this cell again, okay, I will see what would be the count. Now you know the count of this value, the count of 07 to 07 will come as 1. So I will do the comparison. If I will say that if you are less than and equals to this value, okay, which means the count is less than or it is equals to, or I would say only the less than, sorry. If it is less than this, then what it has to do, then it means that there is a still scope of, you know, publishing, printing this value, because we need it 3 times. And if the count is coming less than 3 times, then definitely we would like to again, you know, publish this number, print this number L7. Okay, so freeze this and freeze it like this $L7, so that left to right L should not change, because we need this value. And down the line, if I drag it down, L7 should change to L8, L9, L10, and so on, right? So this is my condition. Now one more thing I want to do, because you're writing the if and condition, guys, you need to close the function over here, right? So this is my value of true. If both the conditions are going to be true, then this should happen. Otherwise we should simply see the space, the blank cell. Okay, so you press enter and there we go. Now we got this 2000. Okay, now let me drag this. Now when I drag this, see what happens here. Now we need to understand this. There is something wrong which is happening, right? As I said, I given you this exercise, right? In this case, if in this example, if you look, the range is expanding, right? And when I say expanding, it means the starting point is same but the end point keeps on moving, right? But in this example I did one mistake, right, which is P7 to P7 I kept it. So what happens, basically when you press F2, again you have this single cell P7. So the count function is calculating in the P7 only. So obviously the answer would be 1, right? We wanted to count this and this as well. So this should count this and this, because you are on this cell, right? When you are on this cell, it should count only this cell. When you are here, then it should count these 3 cells. When you are here, then it should count all these 5 cells and see the count. Okay, so in this case, what actually we should have done, we should have frozen this 07, $07, and keeping this 07 open, so that when I move this left to right, it should be $07 to N7, P7, I beg your pardon, because after O you have P. So now let us go ahead and let me drag this. Now when I drag this, again you are not able to see the correct answer. Okay, now let us understand why we are not getting the correct answer. I go to the evaluate formula. Okay, so we will do the post-mortem of this formula. Now what is in the value called Q4, right? Now in the Q4 I have 3, you know that. So I click on the evaluate. Now this 3 is equals to K7. What I have in the K7? In the K7 I have start month as 1. Obviously 3 is not equals to 1. So the overall result would come as false. Now if they are not equal, then that does not mean we should stop there. Then the next condition we should go ahead and test, which is this if condition, because L7 is the true for this condition and true is not happened, the result is false. So now we will go ahead and check out this. So in the P7, what you have written in the P7, let me check. So P7 we have here 2000, which means the previous value we are checking, guys, right? So the previous value is not empty, we know that. So when I click on the evaluate, this comes out as true, which means if the previous value is not blank, then that means we have a number there. Now we want to see that is it the time when we are supposed to print that number again in the cell where we are using the formula, and that can be checked by this count function. So now the count is going to count O7 to P7 and the result would come. So from the O and the P, what count actually is a function which counts the numbers. So you will have here 2. Let me click on the evaluate and you see that we got the 2. Now 2 is less than K7. Now this is what exactly I was talking. Instead of, we have selected a wrong cell. It's not K7 because we want the comparison with the J7, because this is going to decide, right? So let me close this, and so I come back here, and this J7 which I have written here, actually on moving it left to right, you know, this J7 changed to the K7 as a rule, right? So we need to basically keep this freezed, the column part J. Now let me drag this. We got the 2000 here, perfect. Now again I'll go here, Control V, and you see that you're not seeing any value. So let me quickly paste this formula on all these columns. There we go. And now let us quickly check. So let me change this to 2. So now it should start with the February, and you see that it's starting from the February because of this 2, and how many times it has to go? 3 times, which is coming from this month period. So if I make this 1, it should stop in the P column itself, and this is really working. And if I make this, let's say 5, then we should see 6005 times starting from the February month. So we have this value 1 2 3 4 5. So it's coming, it's absolutely working, guys, right? Let me again, you know, show you this. Now one thing more, if I keep this 1, you see that, is it coming? Yes, it is coming. 1 2 3 4 5, it's absolutely coming. And if I change this to 3 or 2, it's coming, right? It's working, guys. Okay, so now what we have done, this is very interesting. Now you see that, let me explain you again. The first thing which you have done here is, in the first cell you only use the formula this O4 equals to K7, right? So we are saying that if this equals to this, then what should happen? Then we should be able to see 2000, otherwise it has to be a simple space, right? So you can keep this formula as well, and then, you know, place the formula here, or otherwise you can simply copy this and paste this formula here as well. Now I've copied the same formula here. So this would be much better in terms of understanding the, you know, basically this question. Now what happens if we just look at this formula, this 1 is equals to this 1, so immediately the function will stop in this value of true, and you will have your L7, which is 2000. Now the important question comes is that, what if it is not true? For example, if I change this to 3, now you see that, just a second, let me press enter. Okay, so in this case we have some problem here. What is the problem? Let me see. So this O4 equals to K7, it is not. So yeah, so I think this is the problem, guys. Basically when you actually, you know, because I have dragged the formula here, so this N7 and the count of this N7, the range should not be N7 to O7, it actually should be N. Okay, and this should be F4. F4 is the shortcut key to insert the dollar, and this is, we are going to make it O, and I'm going to keep this open. Right now this problem comes because I had written the formula here, but then I dragged it, right? So I think this is done, and now we have the N7 to O7, everything is fine. N7 to N7, yeah, you got to make it N7. There we go, and that's it. I will simply copy and paste this, and I will simply go ahead and copy and paste in the next cells as well. Now this is what exactly we are able to see, and this is looking pretty cool, right? So I can explain you again. Now go to the evaluate formula. That's the best way. If O4 equals to K7, you know that in the O4 you have a Jan month, which comes as 1. In the K7 you have 3, right, which is a start month. So these values are not equal. So if these values are not equal, what is the next thing? The next thing is that if this result would come as false. Now if this result is false, we will go in the false parameter, and in the false parameter we have another if and condition, right? So skipping the L7 part, which is the true part, it will start executing the false parameter, and in the false parameter I have another if. So this N7, now let's calculate the N7. You know that what is N7? N7 is the previous value, right? So when I click here, you see that it's actually 0 not equals to blank. It comes out as false, right, because this is actually blank, right? Now the count of N7 to N7 obviously would be 0. So this 0 is less than 3. That is true. But the point is, when you have a combination of false and true in the if and, the result would come out as false, because if and means that every condition has to be true, right? So the previous cell was not empty. That is why, you know, it's showing actually false, and this is the really our motive. We want to find that if the previous cell is blank, then we don't want to count anything, right? Because we will start our counting only from the cell where we get the value. If the previous cell is empty, that means we are still not able to reach to that number which is equals to this start number. So this answer, this if and of false and true will, you know, come out as false, and if it is a false, then it will never go in the L7, which where we have written the amount. It will capture the space, right? So that's why you're able to see here, you know, the space, the blank. Okay, so similarly same thing happens here, and when it comes here, then what happens, this 3 actually gets equals to this 3. So if I show you in the evaluate formula, this is very quick. I click on the evaluate, I got 3 equals to 3, this 3 equals to 3. So what happens, you will go in the true parameter, which is L7. So what you have written in the L7, this comes out, this is coming out as true, and when I click back on the evaluate, this is going to be 2000, guys. So at the moment you have the same result, this, you know, Q4 equals to K7, it will print the L7 value and give you the number. The next time this 4 is not equals to this 3, so what will happen, it will go in the second if, which is this if, and it will check whether the previous value is non-empty, and in this case it will find that yes, the Q7 is not empty. And the second thing it will find, that it will count the numbers from here, and it will see that what is the total count, and that if the total count is less than this, then it will print this value, right? So this is the logic I have prepared. If you have any questions, let me know about it, guys. And yeah, I mean, if there is any part which you find difficult, let me know. I will upload some more videos on the if function. So I hope you have got your solution. Thank you so much again for asking such a wonderful question. I will be back, guys, very soon with some more exciting, with some more real examples. Please subscribe to the channel and support me. Thank you so much for watching.